these are the signings Arteta has to, and I mean has to make, if he ever wants to get out of Pep's shadow. Oh, burn. Sorry for saying burn, but it's time to talk about those sweet, sweet Gunners. You remember them? Arsenal demonstrated two things in this last season. Firstly, they showed that they've got a good group of young players that have shown that they belong in the upper echelons of the table and are players that can give Arsenal the platform to thrive for the next few years. Because I know it's disappointing, but there's a hell of a team there and they were really good for a very long time. They fell away at the end. But it doesn't mean they're a bad team. Despite that positivity, they also showed that they aren't really anywhere near Man City in terms of overall squad depth, which highlighted some of the frailties of this Arsenal side. So what this does, though, it allows us to see what Arsenal need for next season, positive again, and the season after in order to thrive, but to also become perennial winners. Sound good? Keep listening. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the next 3 transfer windows of Arsenal and see what changes we would make, have a look at the contract situation and put forward what the team would look like in 2025 if I had my way. Incredibly quickly before that, if you are new to the channel and you enjoy this video, make sure you check out all the other episodes of this series that we've got. Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, probably Newcastle's out by this time. So go check all of those out and there'll be a few extra ones as well. Let us know which ones you would like us to do in the comments down below. Also importantly, if you want to get your transfer fix, the Ripple Effect, which of course started on YouTube and is now on Spotify, we'll be focusing solely on the transfer window and the ripple effects of certain players moving to certain clubs. So if you enjoy the series on YouTube, then make sure you spend some time with us over the summer on Spotify with the Ripple Effect. Links in the description. Right, contract situation. Contracts expiring this month. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Reece Nelson, probably will have agreed terms by the time this comes out though. And contracts expiring in 2024, Jorginho, Xhaka, who may have left by the time this video comes out, El Neni, Rob Holding, and William Saliba, who might have signed a deal by the time this video comes out. Alright, so pinch of salt please, guys. So, as far as the contract situation is concerned, Arsenal are in a relatively healthy position with none of their superstars likely to leave over the next 3 transfer windows. Happy days. Unless it's for huge, huge money. Now, Saliba is the only one to keep an eye on, but he'll most likely agree a new deal over the next few weeks or months. Another good thing about the contract situation is that most of the players who have contracts expiring over the next 12 months are not crucial first-team assets. This means that Arsenal can get rid of them and bring in fresh faces without it disrupting the balance of the squad, whilst also allowing Arsenal to take the next steps in assembling a squad so sweet, it'll make you vomit. Transferring players, transferring humans, transferring yourself. Well, you can do with today's sponsor, my beloved Surfshark. Right guys, for those of you who don't know what Surfshark is, it's a VPN. It's a virtual private network that keeps your online data safe by encrypting all of the data between the device and the internet. This is crucial when you're out and about using public Wi-Fi because it keeps cyber criminals well away from your data. That's important. With a Surfshark VPN, you can change your real location to any location around the world. Over 3,200 servers in over 100 countries. You can go wherever you want. This means that you can access new content by exploring, say, Netflix libraries of Japan, USA, Australia, etc. Also, if you are on holiday, and a lot of you are going to be doing that over the summer, and you often can't watch your favourite sporting events because you need to be in the UK to watch it on the channel that you want to watch it on, then you need Surfshark, because with Surfshark you can change your IP address back to the UK and tuck into Sky Sports, BT Sport, BBC iPlayer, whatever you want it to be, because you're in the UK. Or at least the internet thinks you are. Masking your IP address is essential in becoming private online. A VPN ensures your city, country, and download history isn't linked to your identity, and Surfshark's clean web feature blocks ads, phishing attempts, tracking, and malware, allowing you to surf the web safely. And what sets Surfshark apart is that you can use your Surfshark VPN on unlimited devices. So, if you currently don't have a VPN, it just makes sense to have one to watch what you want to watch, whenever you want to watch it, wherever you want to watch it. So, take a look at the link in the description. That will take you to Surfshark's website, where you can get yourself 3 months extra for free right now by using my code Allcott. Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk, so why not give Surfshark a go? Links in the description. Off you go. Okay, first transfer window, summer 2023. There are 3 positions I think Arsenal will need to address immediately this summer. One is a box-to-box centre midfielder. You've got a defensive midfielder and a backup right back. Now, with Xhaka leaving, it's a good opportunity for Arsenal to go out and buy a young box-to-box midfielder with quality right now, but also potential. The defensive midfield position was mostly taken up by Partey, of course, this season. Whilst he was great for the bulk of the season, it does feel like Arsenal may be ready to bring in someone in that position who can be the 6 for multiple years to come. So, let's have a look at some box-to-box options, and let's dip back into that Man City well, shall we? Zinchenko, Jesus, Gundogan, anyone? 32 years old, cost nothing. I mean, would they give it to their closest rivals? I'd be surprised, but if he wants to do it, he wants to do it. And it would be on a free. Look, whilst I think Arsenal will more be looking at younger talents, I simply don't think that they could afford to pass up on an opportunity to sign Ilkay Gundogan if it was on the table. He'd be perfect in that role that Xhaka was playing this season and is arguably a lot better suited to it than him. I mean, look, full stop, he's better than Xhaka. Different, but he is better. Gundogan scored 8 goals in the Premier League this season, and they feature a diversity of intelligent movement into the box or excellent technique and positioning from outside the box. Another factor that I think has to be mentioned is that he's a big game player. The FA Cup final is a perfect example of this, and Gundogan has also worked under Arteta previously, so we have to remember that as well. I mean, it would be great if they could get it done, but maybe they can't. So let's put forward another option. James Maddison, 26, cost about 30 million. Maddison at Arsenal could be absolutely amazing because he's still only 26 and Arsenal could get 4 years of him in his prime. And I think his personality alongside his performances on the pitch fit well with the likeable squad. He's kind of got that Ramsdale vibe about, you know, enjoying the media, enjoying getting his personality across and quite happy in his own skin. Maddison ended the season with 19 goal contributions in the Premier League and 2.3 key passes per 90. Pep Guardiola constantly talks about evolution of the squad, and we see this in how his sides develop a different tactical strain every season. Arteta may have a similar thought process for next season to avoid it getting that little bit stale, which, I mean, it kind of did near the end as much as Arsenal tensing up as well. So having Maddison would completely change the dynamic of the midfield 3 and almost allow them to have 2 10s on the pitch at once with Odegaard on the other side. This could have real potential to be one of the best midfields in the league, and I think there wouldn't be an issue in terms of lack of balance either, because Odegaard works exceptionally hard off the ball, and with Zinchenko moving to an inverted role, the midfield it's more structured than it would appear on paper. It's also worth noting that Arteta may look to convert Emile Smith-Rowe to an 8 of some sorts for next season, so having more senior players such as Maddison or Gundogan could complement the squad balance pretty nicely. Let's move into defensive midfield. Options there, you got Ruben Neves, also 26, cost 35 million, contracts up in 2024, and I think Neves, I mean, he could be an outstanding profile for Arsenal at the base of this midfield. His defensive numbers alongside his passing stats perfectly demonstrate why he'd be a perfect candidate for the role of possession dictating 6, which is a new thing we're calling. Is he a 6? Well, yeah, but what kind of 6? Well, he's a possession dictating 6. He averaged 3.7 tackles and interceptions over the season for Wolves, and granted there was a lot of traffic coming his way with how defensive Wolves were at times, but on average he was winning 53% of his ground duels, which is decent, but would be a lot higher in a pressing system like Arsenal's. As a progressor, you can't really fault him either. You know, 6.51 progressive passes per 90 this season. Partey averaged 8.37 last season, so with this knowledge, Neves could potentially match or even better that if he was playing in a quality midfield such as Arsenal's. Also, his long-range passing is fantastic, which could be, as I say, a new tactical strain for Arteta to use. Second option for defensive midfield, Ibrahim Sangare. 25, costs 45 million. I seriously don't get why a Premier League club hasn't moved for Sangare yet. They're seriously missing out on a great player. You've got a guy who's 6'3", and I feel like those who haven't watched him don't truly understand him because of his size. I think he gets kind of wrongfully labelled as solely this midfield destroyer when in fact he's far better than that. His FB Ref Scout report speaks for itself in a way. He's been playing as a single pivot in the PSV midfield this season and has thrived there, albeit in what was quite a defensive system. I think in Arsenal's current system, I think he could do Partey's role really easily. He's press-proof, has great positioning, and is excellent at utilising space in front of him, as demonstrated by his 1.33 successful take-ons per 90. A hell of a player. Okay, next up, again for this summer, a backup right-back. Options, Gonzalo Montiel, another one who's 26, kind of hitting that prime. This is what we're kind of looking at here, especially when you've got such a young side like Arsenal. Cost would be 20 million. What I like about Montiel is he's typically South American in that sort of full-blooded way that he approaches the game, and that is to have a win-at-all-costs mentality. Please don't cancel me for saying that. It's, that is a style of South American that we often see. Look at, say, Yerry Mina, for example, at Everton, kind of has that within him. Richarlison has that within him. And he's proven that he's a winner, scoring the winning penalties in both the World Cup and Europa League finals recently. His stats aren't going to blow anyone away, but probably neither do Ben White's. It's more about the eye test, isn't it? Montiel is a very defensively capable fullback and can operate as that elbow fullback, whilst also being able to attack when needed. He created 4 big chances in 17 starts in La Liga this season, as well as averaging 1.6 tackles and interceptions per game. He'd be a great addition to the squad with what he offers in mentality and mindset, as well as depth. I just fell back. As well as depth. Speaking of depth, I just fell down. Second option, Noussair Mazraoui, 25, younger than 26, by a year. He costs about 30 million. Now, Mazraoui is a completely different option to what Arsenal currently have at right back, but he could still be incredibly useful. Having only gone to Bayern last year, he is reportedly unhappy with the game time he had over the season, making only 11 starts in the Bundesliga. And Bayern Munich have been heavily linked with Rafael Guerreiro in this summer transfer window. So naturally, he's going to want to move. And naturally, in terms of style, he's more of an attacking fullback and he's very, very good technically. He created 6 big chances from only 19 appearances in the Bundesliga last season. But for Morocco at the World Cup, he was deployed at left back and played in what was a very defensive system. During the World Cup, he won 62% of his ground duels, which shows he's got quality as a defender. I think he's one of the best signings Arsenal could make this window. He can also play as an inverted fullback as well if needed. He'd give them a lot of tactical options and possibilities. Fast forward to the cold winter month of January 2024, and with the key areas addressed in the summer, the January signings Arsenal will make, or could make, will likely depend on what they need at the time. Just by looking at the squad, I think a backup striker maybe somewhere they look to make additions to in January, dependent on injuries. I know Trossard has played as a false 9 and he's done really well there, but I'm not sure that will be enough for Arsenal to rely on if Jesus and Nketiah pick up injuries midway through the season, which Jesus did, didn't he? For this one, we're going to have a look at strikers who have contracts expiring in the summer of 2024, which could be available for cheap in January 2024. So, in terms of those backup striker options in January 2024, Iliman Ndiaye, 23 years old, cost maybe 15 million because of his contract. Now, Ndiaye's contract at Sheffield United is up in 2024, and a lot of clubs know about this because it's on Football Manager. Now, if he stays at Sheffield United this summer and we are able to assess him in the Premier League, there may be a chance or decent chance that Sheffield United sell him in January because they have financial problems and need to make money from somewhere. And Ndiaye also has a similar profile to Jesus in how he can drift to the left and play as a false 9, and he also offers a threat in the 18-yard box. He scored 14 goals and registered 10 assists for Sheffield United last season. He could be a great like-for-like understudy for Jesus. Second option, Callum Wilson. Now, I know he's been fantastic for Newcastle, but at 31, you could probably get him on the cheap with his contract running down. Maybe about 10, 15 million. It could be a bit like a Jorginho one. Maybe that's a little bit low. Newcastle fans, let us know. That's probably a little bit low, isn't it? But before you get annoyed about Callum Wilson leaving, this is, purely a hypothetical transfer that Arsenal could make if they are desperate for a striker next January. There's always the thing with this series, like when you get to January, most people don't want to make too many changes, and if things are going really well, again, they don't want to make too many changes. So because this is the definition of a short-term move. If there is a need for a striker at Arsenal in January, Callum Wilson could be an option to make sure that Arsenal don't have to pay over the odds to sign a superstar in January. This could be a great one of those sort of get you to the end of the season type moves, similar to the idea of Weghorst to Man United, but the difference here being Callum Wilson actually scores goals. That's harsh, but it's true. but it is harsh. Summer 2024. In the summer of 2024, I think Arsenal will go big again and look to take more steps towards creating the ideal squad. Now, there won't be many important contracts for Arsenal expiring during this window, so there's no immediate need to replace anyone. This means that the transfers made will all be additions that look to boost the overall squad strength. So with that in mind, we're going to go with a right winger who can rotate with Saka as well as a centre-back to replace Rob Holding's place in the squad. First option, and it's heartbreak for Finn, the editor.
A little bit.
As Crystal Palace's Mikel Arteta makes his way to Arsenal Football Club. 40 million, I would say. Probably minimum by the time, he's had a good season at Palace once again. I think he'd be a really good player who would sort of push for a starting place, but also be a really good rotational option as well. Really good, solid Premier League assister right now. In a better team would do even better. Created 11 big chances last season, 1.9 key passes as well. I think, look, there's been links with PSG, but I don't think that'll happen this year. I think he'll have another season under his belt. It'll be 22 by this point, and Arsenal could go and get him, and I think he would be quite keen on a move to Arsenal as well. How about Samuel Chukwueze, 24, now 25 by the 2024 summer window? The cost would be free, because if Chukwueze stays at Villarreal for the upcoming season, he'll be available as a free transfer this time next year. Again, he fits perfectly in terms of being a similar profile to Saka. He averaged 2.3 successful dribbles per 90 in La Liga last season, as well as 4.23 shot-creating actions, and is very effective in one-on-one situations, which is something the right winger of Arsenal has to be, as a lot of the creative drive of Arsenal comes solely from the right side combinations of Saka and Odegaard. Then on to the centre-back positions. Nikola Milenkovic, 25, 26 by the 2024 window. A lot of you guys will have seen him recently in the Conference League final for Fiorentina up against West Ham, where I don't know how he didn't get a booking. It's not important. I mean, he did get booked, but it's not important. He cost 30 million. I think he would cost 30 million by this point. And I think Milinkovic could be a centre-back that raises the level of the defence overall. I think if Arsenal get Milinkovic, then they'll have two good left-sided centre-backs as well as two good right-sided centre-backs. They'd also have Ben White and Tomiyasu, but their role within the team is very much at right-back, isn't it? So we all saw how much Rob Holding struggled when he came into the side against Man City, and Arsenal need to add quality and depth there over the next few windows. Milinkovic is exactly that. He played in a possession-based Fiorentina side this season and made 0 errors, whilst also averaging 71% success in his aerial duels. Very complete centre-back. Second option for centre-back, Benjamin Pavard. Yes, I know he plays in different positions. We'll get to that. 27, 28 by the 2024 window, and he would cost absolutely nothing. Pavard allegedly wants out of Bayern this summer, but may have to ride his contract out. He wants to leave because he doesn't want to be playing at right-back and sees himself as a centre-back. Well, Benjamin, I've got a solution for you. Wait a year and join Arsenal. Are you listening, Benjamin? Not only do you get to play centre-back, but you also get to let the JLA channel look like they know what they're talking about. Come on. It's a win-win. However, he may not get into the team ahead of Saliba. Stop watching that one. Which is the only issue. But if Arsenal could get him, it would be a brilliant coup, I think. And it would raise the level of the squad once again. So there you have it. Stepping into the future. I mean, God knows what the world will be like by that point. AI and all that stuff. We've seen these new VR headsets as well from Apple. Scary. But, Arsenal fans, you'll be able to enjoy this lineup in 2025. I mean, it's not there. I'm just pretending it's there. Congratulations. If you're happy and you've enjoyed yourself, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Check out this. It's time for Newcastle to stop being the darlings of the league, and it's time for them to enter their villain arc. We've spoken about it several times, and now's the time. This is exactly how Newcastle are going to become the bad boys of the Premier League over the next 3 transfer windows. So by 2025, this is how Newcastle United could look. I'm not going to show you it now, am I? I'll show you at the end of the video. So